Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
And today we're going to talk about food.
Yes.
And of course, during the summer, you might want to figure out a way to keep yourself cool. They always tell you to drink lots of water. But, you can only hold so much water, and it's not very tasty. It's kind of boring. So sometimes you crave for a special kind of treat, don't you?
Oh, yeah. In the summer, of course. The best way to cool down, at least in my experience, is eating something really, really cold, if not frozen. Frozen food is the best. And Taiwan has some really great frozen food that they make here called shaved ice, or bing. We talk about it being bao bing in the article, but we just call them bings. And we add an S to it because that's what foreigners do. We kind of take the Chinese word and then we just, kind of change it a little for our language. But I love bings. I think they're great.
Indeed. So, of course, we're talking about a certain kind of ice that is served here in Taiwan. And also, we're going to talk about different kinds of icy desserts in different parts of the world. We're going to go to Persia, to China, to Japan, the Philippines, all sorts of places. So let's get to it. Let's read the entire contents of our lesson right now. On a summer day, nothing is more cooling than shaved ice. This icy dessert, topped with sweet ingredients, boasts a long history across numerous cultures. From Taiwanese baobing to Japanese kakigori, each region offers its own unique version. Shaved ice desserts have existed for centuries. In ancient Persia and China, people stored ice underground for summer treats. During the Tang Dynasty, nobles flavored ice with honey and fruit. This tradition spread to Japan, where kakigori was topped with syrup and condensed milk. Taiwan's baobing is enjoyed with red beans, taro balls, and fresh fruit. The Philippines' halo-halo was influenced by Japanese kakigori in the early 20th century, later adding native ingredients like coconut strips, ube, and leche flan. Similarly, Japanese immigrants brought shaved ice to Hawaii, where it became colorful Hawaiian shave ice, often served over ice cream or red beans. The texture of shaved ice varies with preparation methods. Taiwanese baobing features coarse ice for a crunchy texture, while Korean bingsu uses finely shaved ice that is as soft as cotton candy. Smaller pieces of ice melt more quickly, making syrups and toppings taste sweeter. The method of shaving the ice also influences how well it absorbs flavors. With new freezing technologies, shaved ice continues to grow and change, winning more fans worldwide.
So let's take a look at our title, Frozen in Time. We use that phrase frozen in time for something that does not change over time. It seems to never be altered or changed, and so it's kind of fun to look at things that are frozen in time. You get an idea of what things or this particular object or thing might have been like hundreds or maybe thousands of years ago. So we're saying frozen in time, shaved ice magic in every bite. We've actually had shaved ice around for a long time in different forms, to be honest. It's not always exactly the same. And as Tom said in the intro, we're actually going to take a look at some of these frozen desserts in different countries, but also at different time periods in history.
Okay, so here in the first paragraph it says, on a summer day, nothing is more cooling than shaved ice. Okay, so this is a common construction. Nothing is more 怎么样 than something else, which means that's the highest you can get of that particular category. So yes, you want to have shaved ice. You don't want to have a shaved face like men do every day. I shave every 2 days because I've gotten tired of shaving every day. That's when you take a sharp metal object like a blade or something and scrape it over a surface. So shaved ice is the same kind of process. You take a piece of metal or something, a knife or whatever, and you make smaller pieces of ice.
Now, this icy dessert that we're going to be talking about can be topped with sweet ingredients, which makes it even more yummy. Then it's cold and sweet. That sounds pretty wonderful when it's hot outside. It boasts or has a long history across numerous cultures. When you use that word boast, you're saying that you're pretty proud of something. So it has something that makes you proud. So it boasts a long history across numerous cultures. Yeah, it's not just in different countries, it's in different cultures, in different versions, you could say. So we're looking at some of these different versions. We're going from the Taiwanese baobing to the Japanese kakigori. Each of these regions that this shaved ice dessert is found, each region offers its own unique version. If you have something that's unique, it's not like anything else. It's kind of like one of a kind. People like to feel like they're unique. And so sometimes people will dress differently than maybe the style of the day. Or maybe they get tired of their hair color and they put different colors into their hair just so that they stand out, so that they're unique among their friends.
Exactly. So, of course, in the USA, we don't really have shaved ice, but, well, actually, we kind of do with snow cones.
Oh, yeah.
Or slushies.
True.
Those are kind of similar. You take ground ice and you add ingredients to it, but it's not quite the same. So we are talking about baobing here in Taiwan and kakigori in Japan. These are unique versions of shaved ice in Taiwan and Japan, respectively. Now, here in the next paragraph, it says, shaved ice desserts have existed for centuries. Okay, so it's nothing new. It's been around for a long time. I guess they had this even before refrigeration.
Yeah.
I guess in Persia and China, they could figure out a way to keep ice underground for the summer. That's pretty amazing, huh?
Yeah, I like to read books that kind of depict the 18th century in 18th and 19th century in America. And they didn't have refrigerators back then, or as Tom just said, refrigeration, something that cools something else down. So it's kind of fun to see how they used to come up with ways to keep their food cool. If you had a lot of money back, a couple centuries ago, and you had to have money to have ice, poor people didn't have ice. They had no access to it unless you lived in a place like Alaska or someplace that had ice naturally. What they would do in the summer is they would take those big ice cubes that they would put on trains and then transport them from a colder area to a warmer area, and they'd immediately try to get that ice, that block of ice, underground, quite a ways underground to keep it as cool as possible.
Indeed. So, of course, in ancient Persia and China, they stored ice underground for summer treats, so it would stay really cold all the way until summer, and then they would go down and get some ice and make it into a summer treat. Persia, of course, is modern-day Iran. Now, during the Tang Dynasty, nobles flavored ice with honey and fruit. Okay, so we divide Chinese history into dynasties, the Shang Dynasty, the Xia Dynasty, the Han Dynasty, etc. And, of course, most Chinese people are very proud of the Tang Dynasty because that's when China was its strongest. So, of course, this is a period of history in China called the Tang Dynasty. And nobles, people who were in the palace, the emperor and all the officers, the officials and things, they flavored ice with honey and fruit. So here we've got the word flavor as a verb. That just means to add flavor or add taste to something.
Yeah, you can flavor your food with lots of different spices or maybe even sauces. We have lots of choices these days in how we flavor our food. They would flavor the ice or add that special unique taste to it by using honey and fruit, which were available back then. You didn't need any fancy store-bought toppings or goodies. So that's what they would do. Now, this tradition spread to Japan. So it started in China, and then, of course, it went to Japan, which is nearby. And they called it kakigori, and they topped their frozen desserts with syrup and condensed milk. We actually still use condensed milk in Taiwan on bings. I love that taste. That's really sweet and flavorful. Syrup is some sort of topping. It's a liquid form, and it can have different flavors like a chocolate syrup. You can pronounce this word two ways, either syrup, which is found more often, or syrup with a long E sound, syrup. Syrup is found generally more. I checked about 3 dictionaries because I was interested to see what it was. But I grew up saying syrup, and then I changed to syrup when I went back east to live in New York for about 15 years. And then now I say syrup again because I hear syrup more in Taiwan. So anyway, that's what a syrup is. It's a liquid form kind of a sweet topping that we put on different things.
The most common form of syrup you'll find in the USA is maple syrup for your pancakes, which is probably going to be made from, what's that, high fructose corn syrup or whatever, not really maple tree syrup.
It could be the real thing if you get it in Canada.
It would be expensive that way, of course. Yeah. And then cough syrup, of course, is something you take when you're coughing too much. Now, Taiwan's baobing is enjoyed with red beans, taro balls, and fresh fruit. So these are some local ingredients here. Red beans are often referred to as adzuki beans. I actually like them. I didn't like them at first, but I've developed a taste for them. I like them especially in red bean popsicles, or adzuki bean popsicles, if you will. Taro or taro, those, of course, are those light purple kind of balls. And then, of course, you can have fresh fruit with your baobing.
Yeah, they also will add that condensed milk on beans here, which I quite enjoy. I'm not a big fan of red beans, guys. Sorry, I don't like the texture.
Okay.
It's a little mushy to me, like bananas are mushy.
Do you like the green beans?
Not really, but okay. I can eat the green a little easier. Taro's fine. I like taro, but we're going to another country now in the region, and that's the Philippines. They have something called halo-halo or halo-halo, depending on who's talking. It was influenced by the Japanese kakigori, and that happened in the early 20th century, which puts it in the 1900s. So I want you to take a look at the Philippines. We have the possessive apostrophe after that last S, and you can either pronounce it the Philippineses or the Philippines halo-halo. Typically, Americans will stick to the more simplified, the Philippines halo-halo. But it's not wrong to say the Philippineses halo-halo. It just takes longer. Why would you do that?
And, of course, the Philippines are in Asia here. So, of course, they were influenced by the Japanese, not just during World War II, but perhaps before that. And Japan, of course, introduced the Philippines to their particular treat. So this has been influenced. Their halo-halo has been influenced by Japanese kakigori. The people in the Philippines thought, what a great idea. Let's try that ourselves.
Yeah.
And they later added native ingredients like coconut strips, ube, and leche flan. Okay, so I don't really know what ube is. That must be a local fruit or something in the Philippines. And coconut, I guess, can be prepared in different ways. These are strips, like long, thin pieces of coconut meat, I guess. And then leche flan, well, flan is kind of a dessert from Spain. And, of course, the Philippines were part of Spain at one time. So leche flan is like milk flan. So I guess that's influenced by Spanish.
It's kind of like, leche is kind of like a caramel sauce these days.
Okay.
So if you see that, it's kind of, it's something that's used in desserts. Flan, I can also add to that. It's a pie without a crust on top. So we often use flans in dessert cooking. If you ever watch those cooking shows, like I love to, you'll see some flans. They're not easy to make. I think they're kind of hard. So yeah, this is just the start of this. We'll finish this off by saying, similarly or in the same way, Japanese immigrants brought shaved ice to Hawaii. So Japan and Hawaii are pretty close to each other, and they're the ones who brought the idea of shaved ice to Hawaii, where it became a colorful Hawaiian shave ice. That's not a mistake in the script there or the article. They actually call it shave ice in Hawaii, which is weird to Tom and I thought it was a mistake when we saw it. But we did look it up. It's Hawaiian shave ice. That's what they call their shave ice or shaved ice in Hawaii. And it's often served over ice cream or red beans. It looks like it's got a little bit of a Taiwanese flavor there to it because they use the red beans there as well.
One thing they forgot to mention is shaved mango ice or mango shaved ice. How could they not mention that? That's the most tasty treat of ever.
I think it's the most popular here. Yeah.
I would agree, and I think most people wait all year to have some because mango, of course, is a seasonal fruit. And we'll talk some more about shaved ice in just a couple of seconds, but we're going to take a break and listen now to our Chinese teacher.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜。哎呀，真的夏天到了哦，真的好热哦，我们大家都来个冷饮啦，或者吃一些剉冰啊什么的。其实剉冰不是只有台湾，也不是只有亚洲有我们今天要带大家来看一下剉冰或者是所谓的刨冰。在标题当中啊，英文就告诉我们这个剉冰刨冰叫做 shaved ice。 因为是冰嘛，冰这样子 shave 把它刨下来的。好，但是我们今天这个文章啊，设计成综合测验克漏字，而且还有几题是真的蛮值得一看的哦。好，所以我们先看一下这个第一段啊，主要是在讲说，夏天的时候大家都会吃刨冰啊，然后每个国家它的刨冰长的样子不太一样啊，而且这个刨冰其实是一个很长久的历史，并不是这几十年发现什么刨冰机，发明刨冰机之后才会有刨冰的。好，我们直接来看第一题哦。第一题呢，就给我们一个很困难的选项，因为大家其实对于这种动词的变化啊，感觉都会有一点焦虑，对不对？好，先不要紧张，我们来看一下。他说啊，这个冰的甜点啊，就刨冰啦豆点跟逗点啊，如果你在句子当中看到逗点逗点，其实它就是一个插入的另外的句子。比如说在这里的插入其实是关系子句的简化，在 top 前面有 which is 关系子句补充说明，非限定用法的哦。which is 的省略。那我们说过这个句子的简化，就是因为 be 动词啊，这个动词会变动词 ing 嘛， be 动词 ing、be ing 它没有意义，所以也直接删掉。总而言之呢，它上面就有各种不同的东西啊，就是一些 ingredients 的这些材料啊，或者是所谓到底要加什么料。好，接下来的第一题呢，才真正出现整个句子的动词，所以这个动词我们就给它 A 或 B 的选项。我们再回头看一下，句子的主词是 this icy dessert 单数嘛，所以当然要选 A 的答案 both， 就是里面有其实啊富含了历史还有各种不同的文化哦。那接着第三题呢的最后第三句这个最后一个字的 version， 我们可以把它特别注意一下，因为其实第三段就呼应主题句当中的这个 version。 这个刨冰其实有很多不同的版本呢。好，接着我们就要来谈谈 history 它的历史咯。在第二段当中啊提到这刨冰其实有好几百年了，因为第二段的第一句刚好也是第二题，我们有时候看到时态也会感到有一点焦虑，对不对？其实都有线索。例如在这一句当中最后两个字的 for centuries 好几百年，如果你看到的时间是 for 加上一段时间，就表示到现在为止持续了一段时间，那么第二题一定会用一个现在完成式，所以答案选 C。 那你说 B 为什么不能选呢？ B 到底是什么呢？ B 不是也有现在完成式吗？B 的选项当中啊有一个 should 应该怎样， should have 加 PP 就表示过去应该做但是却没有做，它是一种特殊的这种句型用法。好，那接着我们回过头来看一下第二段的这个刨冰历史。当然在波斯啊中国啊这几百年前啊，大家都会冬天的时候把冰就藏在这个地底下，夏天就可以拿出来吃，对不对？好，那么接着呢我们来看到第三题是出现在第二段的第7句哦。基本上这里就要看上下文，上下文是怎样的相似呢？第6句有特别提到，像菲律宾动词 was influenced by， 这个菲律宾的冰啊刨冰 hello hello 是受到日本 kakigori 的影响。那第3句后面呢又谈到这个日本的移民啊就把刨冰带到夏威夷去了，所以其实它是一个类似的状况，相似的情况，答案就会选 D 的 similarly。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Let's continue to talk about shaved ice. You're probably wondering, I don't want to talk about shaved ice right now. I don't want to hear you guys talk about it. I want to go out there and get some myself. It just sounds so cool, but hang on, be patient. We're going to finish our lesson soon enough. So let's look at the final paragraph here. It says, the texture of shaved ice varies with preparation methods. Now, texture here just refers to the overall quality of the surface of the ice, basically. The texture, the way it feels in your mouth. Is it soft? Is it crunchy or whatever? Those are examples of food's texture. And yes, it varies. It's different depending on how you prepare it. Preparation here just refers to when you prepare something, when you get it ready for people to eat.
That's right. And it can have different feelings on your tongue, right? Different types of textures. You can have smooth, rough, gritty, like sand. There are lots of different kinds of textures. And I think the thing that surprised me the most when I was reading this article is that the Koreans, we read it as bingsu, but if you say it in Korean, it's kind of like a pingsu. They use a very finely shaved ice that it becomes so soft, it's like you're putting cotton candy into your mouth, which sounds really delicious to me because it just kind of melts away. I don't like cotton candy. It's too sugary for me. All it is spun sugar. But if it were ice that was just shaved so finely that it felt that soft, that would be amazing. It would be, for example, you can buy those little cotton tissue balls that you can use, ladies, to take off your fingernail polish, with the remover. Those are cotton balls. It's kind of like that soft, very fine texture that they're talking about. That's how they make them in Korea. When you talk about preparation, it's just how you prepare or get something worked up. So if you're going to prepare to go to school, for example, your preparation might include taking a shower, brushing your teeth, washing your face, eating breakfast. Those are things that you do in your preparation to go somewhere or do something.
Yeah, that reminds me of when I worked at a restaurant. I worked at a couple of restaurants in the past. And preparation is all important when you get ready for a shift. You got to prepare the food. You've got to cut things up. You got to get things in the fridge all ready to go. That's preparation. And we often say prep for short. Yeah, I got to go in early for prep. I got to prepare the food so that we can open at 5 o'clock or whatever. So yes, indeed, the texture varies from place to place. And again, we've got coarse texture, which is kind of lumpy, kind of like ice you get from a crushed ice machine. And then, of course, the bingsu in Korea is as soft as cotton candy.
Yeah.
That's what kids like to eat. They have cotton candy in white. I think they also have it in pink and blue. You can get it at the zoo or places like that. There'll be somebody selling it there for the kids. And yes, indeed, cotton candy does have that sort of cottony texture. Now, smaller pieces of ice melt more quickly, making syrups and toppings taste sweeter. So, yes, if you prepare the ice really puffy, I guess you could say, like floss or whatever, like cotton candy, then, of course, the pieces of ice will melt more quickly. That might be good and bad. If they melt too fast, then, hey, you don't get to have an ice treat. So I guess it depends on how fast you eat or how hot the weather is or whatever. But the theory is that if smaller pieces of ice melt more quickly, then the syrups and the toppings will taste sweeter. And that's a good thing, I guess, for people who like sweet things. Now, if you change a solid into a liquid, we say you melt it. And usually that refers to ice, water ice, turning into water. So the ice will melt, like, of course, in the United States or Canada, in the spring or so, like March or April, of course, everybody is really anxious for all the snow to melt, and then the trees will start growing leaves, and it will be summer.
It will. I'm one of those people that likes to put toppings and syrups on my ice cream if I'm home. And there aren't a lot of choices here in Taiwan, I have to be honest, that appeal to the American taste buds, but there is chocolate syrup you can buy. I ran into some caramel syrup, which I love. And then I know someone who sells products, imports American products here in Taiwan. She's Taiwanese. And I get fluff from her. It's actually called fluff. And it's kind of like marshmallows that are melted down. And then you can put them over different things. You can add them to Rice Krispies cereal, which makes those Rice Krispie treats. But I like to put it on my ice cream. And then I put, of course, some whipped cream on top of that. These are all toppings that make something taste even sweeter than it is. You can put toppings, of course, on cakes if you make cakes. Sometimes you're just putting icing on top of that. You can also, I don't know, some people don't like toppings at all on anything.
Just plain old ice?
Yeah, but I'll admit some of our desserts get kind of sweet if they're from the West. Even Europeans think American desserts are a little too sweet. So it's kind of funny. Depends on what you like and what your taste buds prefer. But yeah, there are lots of toppings. Of course, the most popular one here, I think in Taiwan, is probably putting that pancake pancake syrup on their pancakes that you can buy at different fast food restaurants or just general diners. There are some diners here that you can get that maple syrup topping, which is really delicious. Or maybe you like jam. You could put some jam on a Bing if you really wanted to. That would make it awfully good, too.
Right. So, of course, in the shaved ice stores in Taiwan, you've got lots of toppings to pick from.
You do.
Of course, red beans and green beans and taro, those are all common toppings. And if you order a pizza, of course, you want to specify your toppings. I'd like to have mushrooms on my pizza. I'd like to have olives, green olives, black olives, or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of olives, so I like to have olives on my pizza, especially the green ones. They're very tasty. Well, a mixture of both is fine. And those are examples of toppings. And yes, indeed, I guess this technique here involves the texture of the ice and the mixture of the toppings, and that makes it more of a culinary experience based on your preferences here. And the method of shaving the ice also influences how well it absorbs flavors. So again, you can shave ice in different ways. You can shave it really finely to make it kind of like floss or cotton candy.
Yeah.
And then it can be more coarse, like chunks of ice or the ice you get out of ice machines or whatever. And the texture of the ice will influence how well that ice absorbs the flavors, and hence it will influence the flavor of your treat.
I think I like sort of in between. I don't like it too coarse because that just feels like you're getting pieces of ice in your mouth, which isn't very fun. But I like it so it's not too fine. I don't want it to melt too fast. It's like ice cream. There's soft serve ice cream that comes out of a machine at the convenience stores that you can get. I like that. But I also like really hard scoops of ice cream because it lasts longer, it feels like to me. But yeah, a lot of people go back and forth on the textures that they prefer, and as well as the flavors that they're putting on top, the toppings, as we call them, or the syrups. So we've got lots of technology these days. We don't have to use a knife anymore to shave ice, which is kind of what they used to have to do. Or I guess you could put it into a piece of cloth and just jump on it or crush it using the floor.
Pound it with a hammer or something?
You can use a hammer. Yeah, the hammer works just fine. But there are lots of ways they have to make these today. Today's technologies are so advanced that you really don't have to work very hard to produce a really tasty Bing.
Yeah, most of the time they use those machines that take a block of ice and spin it in circles, and then there's a blade on the top that creates the ice. This reminds me of another treat here in Taiwan, which is douhua, which I like quite a bit. The douhua will provide protein, and it won't be just totally sweet there. And, of course, you can put ice on top of that if you want to. I love the ice. It does give the douhua an excellent texture, a mixture of the soft douhua and the crunchy ice. It's oh so good. And so here we've got these new freezing technologies, ways to freeze water. And with that new technology, shaved ice will continue to grow and change, winning more fans worldwide. So more and more people will like this particular dessert. But while we're here in Taiwan, let's enjoy it as best we can, especially during the hot summer. That brings us to the end of our explanation. It's time now to listen to our Chinese teacher.
所以接下来我们就谈到最后一段，我们说其实刨冰各个社会各个国家呢那个样子不太一样，对不对？呼应到我们刚刚第一段最后面一个字的 version， 这个版本不同。怎么说呢？比如说台湾的刨冰呢，基本上就是冰是比较粗啦齁。那这个韩国它的刨冰呢，则是会刨的比较细一点。我们在最后一段的第一句，因为来到第4题，我们就要看上下文哦。动词的样态都是现在简单式，可是到底是持续还是各式各样不同，还是要改善还是更糟呢？因为我们刚刚提到的文意在第2句，台湾刨冰比较粗，有没有？这个动词在第2句里面的 feature 是以什么什么为特色。Coarse ice 就表示这个冰比较粗。逗点之后的 y 有特别抓出来哦，在这边指的是一种对比对照。但是韩国的刨冰呢，则是比较细，因为我们在逗点之后看到一个 finely。fine 在这边就不是好哦，它指的是比较细致的意思，甚至细致的像是棉花糖一样。这句话最后面我们把 as 抓出来，它就是一个比喻的句型。第2个 as 就是比喻的像， 像什么一样的如何呢？中间我们在 as 看到的形容词是 soft。那第一个 as 是没有办法翻成中文的，它没有意义，它只是把一个形容词或副词把它强调出来。好，所以我们再看一下，像棉花糖一样那么的软，叫做 as soft as cotton candy。如果说我们后面看到的是台湾的是这样，韩国是那样，可能别的地方又怎样的话，那么回过头来看到第4题的这个动词，当然就是不一样 differ， 答案就选 B 咯。好，可是我们在最后面的第5题啊，这个介系词也是一个很大的问题，对不对？其实可以看一下上下文的逻辑，不过在看上下文逻辑之前要特别注意 C 这个答案，因为 C 的 with 如果放在句首的话，它有好几种不同意思哦，有可能是因为什么原因，或者是使用什么工具，甚至有随着什么什么，带点原因带点时间的感觉。所以回过头来第5题这里提到的后面，看到第5题后面的 new freezing technologies， 因为有一些新的科技，所以现在呢刨冰就持续的不断的一直有一些变化的形态，越来越好吃了。所以看上下文的逻辑呢，第5题选 C 的答案。以上是我们今天的内容，我是安娜，我们明天见。
That's all the time we have for today, guys. We hope you enjoyed learning more about bao bing that they're produced in other countries and that have been produced over history. It's kind of fun. And if you're like me, you're kind of feeling like you need one. So you're going to go outside and find your favorite Bing shop and get one so that you can cool down right now. Thanks for joining us for English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.